Yeah, two ladies were
Oh,
voted.
two ladies.
Yeah.
I was worried you said the old ladies.
Oh.
It's like, come on, let me take her. I'll have to give you grief about something.
Yeah.
Okay, we end and we are being recorded.
And we're live.
We are not live.
Oh,
We are
Only being.
only being recorded.
okay.
Um,
All right, so I'm gonna call the order of the land trust, to meeting at 6:35 PM on June 17th. And we have a quorum. Let's do a quick roll call. So Jenna Odell,
Linda Brennan, Lynn Carlson,
Justine Johnson.
Rory Carmody.
Josh Chase.
right, and Elsa Block is absent.
Yeah.
Good for her.
All right, evacuation instructions, please.
Out the door in that corner and out the doors outside.
All right, we have no minutes, so we can skip that. On to outreach and volunteer efforts. I have something, but I know the kids with the logo got cited.
Yes, they
You wanna
did. It's
share?
very exciting.
Yes. So there were, both kids came,
Thank you.
And their families,
and their family.
siblings, grandparents.
Wow.
Very sweet, yeah.
Yeah, they took pictures.
They
It was
took-
really
yeah.
cute.
We weren't allowed to give our certificate or give them their things. The town council wanted control of it, so we had to wait till after they presented.
Mhm.
I know, it's, again, just, oh, wow. I know, talk about squandering opportunity, that's really good.
PR.
Yeah, yeah. But we spoke to the kids afterwards and the
Yes.
parents, and we told them that this was, all their gifts were from the land trust.
Yeah,
And we hope they would come and visit the land trust. It's a great place to visit, those kinds of things, so they seemed psyched about it. Superintendent was there for another matter, but you know, he got to see it as well, because I had hoped to be able to say. We had hundreds of submissions from all the different elementary schools, and what a good community activity this was, but we weren't allowed to.
We'll have to figure out another way to
Yeah.
post advertise.
Yeah.
mhm,
You know, have like.
And it was like boom, 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 I got one picture of one kid and then it was like done,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, it was very well.
I'm glad you got to talk to them afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But we told them that, their mascot.
Yep.
Is gonna be the mascot for the land trust,
Yep.
you know,
yeah,
for
forever.
years to come,
Mhm.
and that really said,
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
giggly about it, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Puddles Duckington, yeah,
Thank you for doing that.
absolutely.
We'll find a way to.
We can capitalize on that, cause I think, yeah,
Yeah. Might be too late for a news story, but
I know, it just said like. The families took pictures, were great, but the town didn't think to take pictures. That should have been a perfect opportunity, especially with
Oh,
all the
man.
negativity to, you know, and it's, you can't like, how do you write a negative comment about Puddles Duckington?
Right,
And can't, you
right.
can't, you know,
Yeah.
so. And
Yeah.
it didn't make the Coventry Facebook page either, the town, so.
Mhm,
We'll figure out a way. to
Yep.
mhm.
bring it to life again.
No, talk about it, it was,
speaking of Facebook, Justine, do you know what's going on with Elsa on social media?
No,
Okay.
she's in Spain, leave her alone.
has she been in touch with you and have,
No,
what you guys going to
Well,
connect with us?
we were going to work on a booklet together.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know whether this is the time to talk about that. It's kind of an outreach program. right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so, I went through the Rhode Island Tick Detective Workbook for kids. Just to get ideas, and you guys have had thrown out, you know, suggestions on what to include for a booklet. And this is very rough and, you know, obviously needs to be jazzed up a lot, but, these are things that I would include perhaps, what to take on your hike, is some of the things I would cover. Be tick smart checklist, and hiking guidelines. And then how to read trail signs. I don't even know whether I want to do that, but I thought that might be an interesting thing. Instead of writing that out, though, I would like to have art, you know, that does that. And then I was thinking of having a bingo page for each of for the 3 different refuges. And for Whipple, I thought for Stella Hall, and for Sullivan, Bowden combined, they
Mhm.
kind of connect.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking for what to put in the squares for the different refuges. Because,
Bingo, how do you play bingo by yourself?
well, it's more like here's
Here's your card.
your
Yeah.
card, check off all the things you
Oh, I
think.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
So it's not like playing bingo,
Mhm.
it's more like, just
Activity,
an
Scavenger
activity.
hunt.
Yeah.
yeah.
scavenger hunt, yeah.
Scavenger hunt might
Frogs
be a
and-
better way
frogs
to,
and snakes,
yeah,
so
scavenger hunt is a better term for it.
You gotta do the poop chart, that's so popular, every time we have a hike, people.
Oh, yeah,
snap it up.
yeah.
It really is.
Okay, I can put in a chart.
Scat, or it'll be professional, scat chart.
Yeah, don't get my friends started. Yeah, call it poop. Oh, God.
I have a good, book,
Scat chart.
scat and tracking ID book that I got from my Audubon Society.
Oh, good,
class, And it has nice graphics, so
Mm.
I don't know about copyright laws, but
It's
you could
poop.
probably trace the
Yeah,
sketches.
It's
Yeah.
also, that stuff is in public domain.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
is it Purple by Olis Mary? From Peterson
I don't
Guides?
remember what color, it's about that big.
is that the book or the
Bible
book you're talking?
bound.
Okay.
Well, both. Some of the parrot.
Do we have a list of all the species in these?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that make a good word search
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So, yeah, we could.
The website, our land trust page, yeah.
And you have
Yeah.
to put the list.
Sure,
Because I
right.
didn't recognize some of them
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, I put together a list of expected species at each of the 4 hiking ones. We would just want to put a statement like, you may not see them every time, because you're probably not gonna
Right,
see
yeah.
all 80 of them.
Right,
when you
yeah.
go. It's just they're likely to be there at some point.
So if there's things that show up at the different refuges, it would be nice I'd like to have about 9 squares for the scavenger hunt. So, if people want to just tell me now or email me later with a list, because I know like at Whipple, you would see vernal pools, you
Mhm.
would see the river.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be one.
You would see, I know there's woodpeckers there and mallard ducks. And sometimes there's a bald eagle.
Yeah, or we could do warblers for that one,
Warblers.
because
Is this
there's
Stella
1,000.
Talking
Whipple.
Aren't there Canada geese too? They're probably on the river.
Canada geese,
Yeah.
yeah.
Swans sometimes.
Swans aren't native though,
Yeah.
so probably not.
How
There.
obvious do you want it to be? Could we say toads or frogs or something like that?
Yeah, we can
Definitely.
definitely frogs.
Frogs, yeah.
Because
Snakes.
Dragonflies?
Yeah,
dragonflies, yeah.
Oh, dragon.
Squirrels.
Red-winged blackbird.
there are squirrels, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it would be neat to have some more obscure things that
Mhm.
are less
Mhm.
likely, like, something that we know that there's some mammals there, and they're not necessarily likely to see them, but maybe,
the beaver or groundhog or.
beaver, well,
Groundhog.
Yeah.
groundhog,
At Whitmore.
or,
Or, not wolf. Would probably be there.
Shrew, well.
Yeah,
Either
you're
shrew.
not like, you would smell it.
Yeah,
but, we could also say, such and such tracks, or, so things like that, so just, if you think of it just email me a list. I know like at Stella Hall, I've got the Beaver Dam.
Yeah,
And I have lichen, if I know that that's gonna be, that's something there.
there's tons of that.
How about egret? Do we have those? Like, I see those sometimes over
Yeah,
by, I think Whipple.
my Whipple, yeah.
Yeah, there's that branch the Patuxent really like.
Right,
It's
and
good
they'd be
for
rare,
baby
not
birds.
rarer to see, but that
It
wouldn't be
would
as
be
common
common.
as
Right.
squirrel.
Yeah,
Different kinds of leaves. We've got
Yeah.
oak leaf.
Sassafras.
sassafras.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is sassafras at every refuge or any?
it's
and the
at,
things to avoid like the poison ivy.
yeah, it's
That's right.
definitely at Whipple. Because I'm thinking of the location. I'm not certain if it's at Stella Hall. I think it's a bit too wet. It might be at Sullivan. I don't think it's in Bowden.
Okay. So, and I know at, at Sullivan, there's sweet fern, a lot of
Yeah.
sweet fern, which is,
That's a fun one.
yeah, cause
No.
it's got a nice scent to it.
Mm.
And it's kind of looks,
It's not fern.
it's not a fern, it's a bush, but it's got that.
So are we
ferny-
putting pictures of these things in, cause, or how do, I
I
wouldn't
you
know.
know,
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, you'd have to have some,
Yeah.
visual
right.
clue.
So
Yeah.
for me, I was thinking of doing like I said, 9 squares with a picture
Oh, okay.
in each square
Mm.
and a label. So,
Okay.
combined. So, and I
Yeah.
can do some rudimentary drawing. I'm not exactly an artist, but,
You don't want me to do it. This is just.
Elsa would be happy to draw things if we need her to draw. She's good.
She'll volunteer when she's in
We
shape.
will.
Yeah.
Coming on tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Good, okay, good.
yes, because she said she would work on the graphics
Yeah.
part, because, she thought, I think she said something about you do your picture book, and I'm like, I don't do the picture book.
Yeah.
See,
You
it's
make it
fun.
engaging, she'll make it pretty.
Okay.
So perhaps we have everyone send you a list of things by next meeting.
Yep, that would be
Monday,
great.
and then
Yeah, because we don't need to have this at any, particular time, but,
That might be kind of nice, what I was thinking as an offshoot to the name of the duck contest, I was thinking of another contest we could do with the schools.
Mhm.
Not so much a contest, but I was thinking of calling it like, the Land Trust Patrol. And kids, if they visit,
yeah, like
Two
50
would-
patrol.
well, but if they do visit 2 or 3 of the land trusts, they get a certificate that makes them an official land trust
oh, that
ranger.
would be,
Oh yeah.
And part of what they do is if they're out and they see trash or something, they take, and they keep this journal, and we kind of promote that in the schools, that they're a land trust ranger.
Yeah, like a
And
And
junior
this
park
is your
ranger.
job to visit the park,
Oh,
make
you get them
sure.
a patch?
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking too, we could, our little duck,
Yeah.
Puddles Duckington could
Puddles
become a
could
patch, that they
become a
could.
patch.
they
A
could
little
earn.
vest.
Yep, it could be a senior project, we could piece it out to a senior project, keeping the land trust cleared, or teaching kids about certain things, but I just want to try to engage the kids more. 'Cause the amount of coloring pages we got was impressive,
Yeah.
right,
you know what I
it
mean?
really
And the
was.
teachers had to promote that, so this could be one of those things that, then they get, when they graduate or move through classes, they get a certificate that they're a ranger.
Yeah.
And they've got a responsibility, and so,
And we've got summer to refine it, make it
some,
pretty.
that's what I figured was,
Yeah.
and then we introduce it, yeah,
And land trust days is in early fall.
yep,
And you want to get them young to get them on the environmental.
right, track,
Right,
yeah, yep,
I'm pretty sure Alton Jones is how I got the environmental bug.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
farm
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I just thought that might be the next phase of doing something to
Excellent.
include it, yeah, yeah.
Cool idea.
my daughter used to be this, a lifeguard there,
Oh, she probably saw me do the buddy.
anyway.
Best camps.
Yeah.
But this is awesome, thank you. I would say for what to take on your hike to also add like a map or GPS,
Mm-hmm.
something.
And an adult, if we're
Yes.
talking kids.
Okay. Adult, yeah,
Or a very smart dog.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
there you
probably
go.
better,
Lassie.
Bug spray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
That's right.
sunscreen.
Or whistle
hmm
in case you get lost.
It could be fun to see if we could have maybe like as a pilot, because I don't know if we'd be ready by then, have a few of these ready to go for land trust days.
Mhm.
And then either do a kids thing, or even if we don't at our official land trust dates event, have them there, because people are gonna attend that have children,
Yeah.
so. Be worth a shot.
Did we choose Sullivan this year? Was that?
Good question.
I don't think we did because of the parking lot.
We might have.
Oh, yeah, maybe we.
Yeah, we did not,
Stella
do-
Hall.
I think we're back at
Stella Hall.
Stella Hall or
Okay.
Whipple. Is it
Mhm.
Stella Hall?
Yeah, I think
Let me
it's.
see. Can we take a date for that?
I think so. It would be in October.
I've got 10-4, the last from April 15th meeting said 10-4 Stella Hall, land trust days.
Okay.
That's what I got
But no
in my
date.
scribbles, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, October, Saturday, October.
Well. I don't know if we could pick a date now, or we
Well-
could do it next month.
Well, did we already put 10-4 as our date? Let's see.
That's what I had on the,
Oh,
It's in my
sorry.
calendar, October
Okay.
4th.
on the
Yeah.
report, yeah.
Mm.
That's Stella, I just wrote, it's Stella.
Mhm.
So
I think it's
October
Stella
for
Yep.
Stella Hall. And this is one where we
Yeah,
started.
that's, I see, I have it on my calendar, Stella Hall Conservation Area, no. So I verify what,
I don't.
I don't even look, I put in my calendar, and look at the notes.
The, at the annual meeting last night, the Land Trust Council was trying to promote Land Trust days and said, make sure you get your day going and advertise with us.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 2,000 people participated in Land Trust events last
Yeah,
year?
it's a lot.
yeah.
A lot. Oh, buses take them.
Mhm.
I felt guilty, sort of turned red because we had. Zero?
We were there.
We opened them.
Was that wasn't last year?
That was
That-
last
yeah,
year.
that was
Yeah.
That was at Whipple, yeah.
Oh, I'm
There's-
just thinking of
Yeah.
Earth Day.
Earth
Yeah.
Day was.
Yeah.
That was,
And,
that was a
and,
little harder.
No, our Land Trust Day when the,
Land
woman from the
Trust-
school,
Yeah,
they even did the signs.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
that didn't work
that
out.
land trust.
That
that
Land
was-
Trust. That
That
was,
was.
So what we did too.
nobody.
Yeah, I know.
The Coventry
Yeah.
area.
But we actually opened it for the whole state, so that,
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was good.
that was, yeah.
The other one,
Yeah,
Not
I
so
think
much.
unfortunately Sullivan is too
far.
inaccessible to,
Yeah.
I don't think people
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, that's the problem with Bowdoin.
Bowden too, because people look at Ledge Road
Yeah.
like, this can't be right.
Yeah, well, it looks like a
Right.
driveway.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought when I drove down it the first
Yep.
time.
Well, we could, that's fine, because people do use it, but they're more serious hikers,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
we can put our other kinds of events at either Stella Hall or Whipple.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, let's see.
And then, I followed up with Dina and Thomas of the Ecology Society about fungal forays, because she had reached out. I haven't heard back yet, which is not like her, but he's quite busy, which is good.
Mhm.
So, but I'm gonna keep poking because I know she's gonna want to do forays. People are gonna want to do forays at Stella Hall because they're so popular. So I don't know when. I'll just keep you all posted.
For they, for land trust days, could they do a little booth kind of thing?
I'll ask.
Just add to some of the information we're putting up there that would
Yeah,
be someone's interest.
every time we do a foray, without fail, someone is driving by Stella
Yeah.
Hall and stops.
Even when they presented at the library, it was jam packed.
Yeah.
Yes, it was really, well attended.
I reached out to the person who does the presentations from the Rhode Island beekeepers, and he took a long time to get back to me. He said July was a good time for him. So then I called woman at the library,
Jessica.
Jessica, and left her a message. That she can get back to me to find out when the town council chambers will be available in July. And I haven't heard back from her.
Oh, I'll see her tomorrow, cause tomorrow is, the fishing Narragansett
Oh,
Bay
okay.
thing, which
Okay.
we haven't had a chance to put our name on, because I forgot to bring it up, but
Okay.
I'll ask her.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty open, cause she had actually asked me to facilitate something with Old Dolan of an island resource.
Oh,
To do a tree. So, and that's gonna happen. She'd heard about him, he does like the forest coverts
Mm.
and stuff like that, and does tree ID walks around the state for free. So she would like to do one behind the bike path,
Mm.
behind the library at the bike path. Plan is start in the library, council chambers. Apparently it's very open this summer, which will be good.
yeah.
And then do a little bit like tree stuff in there and do back.
Mhm. That's not far from the bike trail right
Yeah.
there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, and then I suggested for like a trail-based one, Stella Hall,
Mhm.
because good parking, pretty accessible, nice tree diversity.
Mhm.
Um. I'm gonna ask her about dates. Paul's kind of open as to dates. He prefers mornings because he's retired. I'm gonna shoot for a weekend because more people can go to that,
Right.
myself included.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see if we wanted to put our name on.
That would be wonderful. I think that would be perfect.
Yep.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we put our name on the tree ID program.
Second.
Roy second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, thank you. I figured, I just wanted to check. But yeah, the council chamber should be open. I think the last couple months they were in a bit of a crunch because taxes and fiscal year and stuff. Now they should be closing.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so, I think the beekeeper guy gave me Mondays.
Big basketball
Thursdays,
back.
Friday evening.
Shouldn't be in the hall though.
In July, so, well,
Okay.
I'll see. I told him. It would be, well, I think I mentioned this last time, he already had sort of a package presentation ready to go for more geared towards adults. Making your garden bee friendly kind of thing. So, but, yeah. I just need to pressure. Put pressure on her. And find out what. And I'll,
Probably Thursday or Friday.
yeah.
It's Monday.
Monday, Thursday is-
Work, yeah.
So should we go ahead and vote for that so that she can go ahead unimpeded without needing another vote before she can do it?
Well, you voted for it last time.
Oh,
We
okay,
should-
all right.
we should pursue it, so I don't know.
I know we were told that we should vote on any programs that we had. Or,
If we think we need another vote.
but if we've
You
already done
already
it,
had, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
you already
fine.
had one.
Yeah, that's
I
why,
recall asking. Oh, everybody says yes.
yeah, so,
Otherwise, I would never pursue it.
okay.
And the library will take care of the fire. And I've asked for you to tell Elsa, I've asked the library to CC her on stuff, because she can post her social media. Because they're now asking us, which is only fair, to post things. Any other outreach things? Okay. Website,
I did not work on anything with the website this month.
to treasures, oh,
That's me too.
Mhm.
Treasurer's report, nothing changed since last month. We didn't have any additional expenses. So. In our
Can you remind me if what if any of this money gets lost? We don't use it, can use it if fiscal year ends, like.
Yeah, so,
Momentarily.
we actually, it's a bit later on in the, packet. But we did actually get the quote for, excuse me, the appraisal for the Pettigrew property. And that is going to take up all of the remaining, monies.
$1,000.
Yeah, the cost of the appraisal is $37.50.
Okay.
So, it'll use up all of the land trust remaining monies, and then the rest will be, taken up by the departmental, professional services account, I believe it is.
Big thank you for that.
Yes, Jeff.
We might actually acquire something this year.
Conservation
Well,
easement?
Yes,
Yeah.
conservation easement, yeah.
Now it has to go to council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful piece of property.
It is
Yeah,
lovely,
really
right
nice.
on the western border. It's
It's amazing.
You walk to Connecticut,
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
you feel like you're back in, early days,
Yeah.
colonial days. It's just, that feels to it.
Oh, it's an old farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Be cool to do something too. So. We have used all our money, which is good.
And I'm still going under the assumption that the carryover for the ARPA signs will be there, so the balance of $708.15.
Yes, I do not know how long that will stay. I don't know if the ARPA, money has a date where it has to be spent by.
Right.
I can
I can't
check
think
on
of
the-
any other signs that we need at the moment,
Yeah.
so.
Could we use it for anything else? Because I was thinking for, if we're gonna do certificates like for ranger stuff, we need a lot of them. I hope if we need a lot of them, like those certificate holders,
Yeah,
that might be something.
yeah.
My impression is that it has to be signed,
Has to be signed, okay.
because when we bought all those existing signs from Voss,
Mhm.
I had wanted to buy one of those canopy tents
Oh, yeah,
and put that we could use the
Logo on
land
it,
trust
yeah.
days, and no, only signs,
Signs.
No,
specifically
posts
for signs.
What's happening with replacement
Okay.
signs for Bowden?
Nothing yet.
Does
Yeah, we could use the money for that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we'd have to find a way to, if you wanted them to be from Larry, we'd have to find a way to pay Larry from this sign coming.
We could purchase the materials, because I assume he's the kind of, person that if you try to, pay
Pay him,
him,
they will refuse.
it'll,
That's
it'll
true,
cause a scene.
but I will have
So-
to.
That's what happened with
so,
Dean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Try to
ask
pay.
Larry, I can ask him about what supplies he needs.
So we can have the materials be breakable, like the ones that, so it can't be the same resin
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I'm assuming the one that my husband backed with plastic would work, but that's another layer to.
does he work in that, what's the stuff like, a lot of signs are made out of that Trex decking?
Well, that's
That's kind of what this
what
was.
it was,
Composite,
and
this
yeah, the composite
plastic.
and the plastic is brittle.
Yeah,
And kids went out there and threw rocks at the sign.
I mean, there must be different grades of that, 'cause it seems like the really heavy stuff would be hard to break.
I don't, there might be, but
You might
I
be
don't
able to
know.
buy, reinforced stuff.
mhm. I don't know.
I
It
will
could do
Yeah.
wood.
talk to Larry.
Yeah,
and
wood
get-
might actually be better
Mhm.
against rocks.
I will talk to Larry and get his take
Yeah.
on it. and
Mhm.
Ask him to budget out.
We
So
do-
I make a motion that I speak to Larry Manier, our sign maker, regarding supplies he would need to create replacement signs for Bowden. and find materials that would be less likely to be destructed and destroyed.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Uh,
So moved.
okay.
Hmm.
So then I could go shopping with him, I guess.
Mhm.
How would that work?
Yeah, 'cause it would, it has to be purchased by the town.
Okay, so we would give you a list of the things that we needed with the prices
Yeah.
broken down and itemized, and then you would order them from, say, Home Depot or
Or
Coventry lumber.
Casella or Coventry lumber, or yeah.
All right, got it.
Hmm.
That's it for the treasurer's report.
Well, thank you. At least we didn't have to do it in front of a microphone.
Well,
Not on a stage. They did it on a stage last night.
That's true.
And
A very
our,
bad night.
budget refills when?
July 1st.
And is there any question about how much is gonna be allotted?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Should be the same amount.
It's gonna be more, because we are getting the
Appraisals, right?
money for appraisals,
Oh, yes. Yay.
so.
So great.
Mhm.
I don't want to be treasurer anymore.
I'm not doing it.
No,
Uh-oh.
I'm sort of kidding.
Well, if I would be willing to take it on, although I said numbers are not necessarily my.
Once we get above $25,000, I will be scared to do it.
We aren't gonna get that much money.
Okay, actually, that's my cutoff. I want to be responsible for that.
Mhm.
Important calendar dates. So we have 10/4 for land trust days. We have a tree and beekeeping, the tree and beekeeping events to happen at some point in time. Tomorrow's the fishing thing, if anyone wants to go. Narragansett Bay focused, but it's about how climate change is affecting fish and fisheries. I do that for a living. I think it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I don't know that was, I think that very full week, but.
The 6 o'clock tomorrow, library,
Okay, I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
council chamber. I think that's it for dates. Oh, the summit. The Land Trust Land and Water Summit is back next year. It will be in March. I think the second weekend in March. So I know that's really far out. Just keep an eye out. It's at URI. And it should be a full day event.
What was that date again?
The second week in March. I think March 10th. That's all right. No, March 11th, because the 10th is Friday. Sometime around then.
Don't remember when it was. Look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't, because I don't have an internet connection.
So is it,
It's 9 months out.
so I remember once the two of us were sent, there is a price to go,
Yeah.
right?
Like, it was 80-ish last time. I'm assuming it'll be somewhere around there.
Mhm.
Should at least send a few of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I made myself my note to put it as an anticipated budget expense, so.
Let's see, you were born a treasurer.
There you go.
Well, your payments in the container.
Yeah. go ahead.
Justine, that's banana bread.
Yep.
Cause he,
And I keep smelling it.
Mhm.
Very tempting.
Famous cooking.
You get banana bread. The Jenna's or your mom's?
that's me.
All right.
It's not my mother.
Just wanna make sure.
He's a real baker.
Great. Stop.
No.
No.
Thank you.
Then
Really
you want some
good.
of your
Thank
own
you.
banana bread?
I've got more at home. That's not even half the loaf, because I had 3 bananas. Mm. So, did anyone see any potential properties of interest that's not otherwise on this list?
What we can afford.
Mm-mm.
So for grant opportunities, I have a couple things. So, so the Land Trust Council maintains, different grants, a list of grants that people can apply to. And, there were 2 that kind of stuck out to me. I didn't get through all of them. What would be really awesome is everyone could take a look at them. They're like on their website and the emails that I forwarded to you all. Some are rolling, some are different deadlines. These 2 are rolling. So one is from the Fields Pond Foundation, which encourages, basically, they have no particular focus. They're focused in kind of ish on land acquisition and management, or like trail management. But they're basically like, as long as you're doing something to conserve land, you're good with us. What they do ask is you contact them ahead of time with a proposal outline before you actually submit. And they give from $500 to $25,000. Particularly 2 to 15,000. So that's one of them. And then the other is NIFWIF for the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, also rolling. They are federal, but it's this kind of consortium called the USA Ecosystem Restoration Initiative. So it brings in money from like BLM, Forest Service, I think Park Service. Although BLM doesn't really operate in the eastern side of the country, but they address all sorts of stuff. From forests, grasslands, aquatic corridors, storm resilience, community access, landscape scale stuff. They really like landscape scale or cross jurisdictional, so I don't know if we want to do something with like West Greenwich. They like things are informed by indigenous knowledge, and they're still actively funding as of 3 weeks ago when I checked. They will have a grant sheet come out in late fall with what in particular they are looking for the next sort of rolling cycle. So they have an email listserv as well. I recommend you all get on it. Cause
Alright,
I'm
I'm
done.
waiting until you're done.
I'm done, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Laura Carberry from, Audubon says that no, the grants that we were looking at are still funded.
Mm,
They were not federal grants, that the money comes from elsewhere. And so that if we're still interested, we can apply for those grants for building the walkways across the wetlands, but we have to have $600 matching funds, and we have to have
Yeah.
6 hours of, so in other words, we have to have at least one of our members there working with those people and, working alongside them.
Is it for 6 hours, or is it or if it's 2 people, it's 3 hours?
I'd have to go back and look at the details, but I think it would be hard for us to scramble to get in, but she says there's still money open, still money available.
The
But-
thing is, we need a permit pulled,
Right.
and I don't think we'll have a permit by
But
the end of
if we
summer.
get the grant, does the work have to be done in a finite period of time?
Well, that has to be done over the summer.
Okay.
So I think our best bet would be to get all our ducks in order before next summer.
Mhm.
At this point.
Right.
If we can get the plan for the walkways, get the grant, what it permits pulled and all that stuff, and have it in, and know, that we can come up with the $600 matching funds, and, which if we've already spent out all our money, we'll have more until July, so.
Right, okay. Yeah, and basically be able to hit the ground running
Okay.
next season.
That's nice, yeah.
Okay. but good to know otherwise,
Mhm.
because we can easily do 600. And I don't think they would have, one person has to be there for 6 hours. I think we could piecemeal it.
You probably could, I mean, and I'm not sure what would be involved, if it's actual construction work, would we have somebody able to help out with something like that?
Yeah.
You know, so,
Well, next time Parks and Rec is here, we could ask them.
mhm.
They,
I'm perfectly capable of swinging the hammer, so have can be that solution.
there we go.
Okay.
No problem.
Working with Saul.
Yeah.
That's
That's right, sort of.
okay.
Great. Last night when Jenna and I went to the land trust annual meeting, I was speaking with Paul, Burrowville Land Trust, what's his last name?
Paul Briselli,
Okay.
Wow.
I know him, never mind, that's how I know him. I'll call you after the meeting.
I'll call you, Kickstarter red. I was talking about some of the issues we have, and he suggested the Champlin Foundation as a place for us to go for grants that are small things that have to do with actual, things that you're gonna put in the
Yeah.
ground.
Construction grants, yeah,
Construction
yeah.
grants. So I will make a point of looking at the Champlin Foundation's website and see if I can gather up information on what we might need to apply to them. Or money to put bridges.
And-
Or other
Yeah, that's
types
great.
of things.
Jennifer, the one that you talked about that funds purchasing land,
Yeah, the Fields Pond Foundation.
that you said that was a rolling application.
Mhm.
Do they have a limit per like? 'Cause I mean, in order to buy
Oh.
land, you need a fairly significant chunk of money. I don't know if it's worth. Or if
Yeah,
they
it-
look at and see that you already have, $1 million sitting around waiting to buy land, if they are less likely to fund you.
I assume it's just to help defray the cost, because
Mhm.
their max is 25K, like we're
Mhm.
not gonna find really
Yeah.
land for 25. But they also do like management or trail management, or maybe we could even get it to cover appraisals. I think you just have to have a piece of property in mind. And that's the one where they said they really want potential applicants to chat with them beforehand.
Who would know if they would do something like, well, in the strategic plan, one of the things I snuck in there in this draft was, New England Cottontail Rabbit Management Plan. I don't know, would that be something that they might fund,
I don't see why
I don't
not.
know if we need equipment for that, I mean,
Yeah,
but,
you need a Bronto.
what?
They're called Brontos, they take down trees. They're really cool.
Okay,
So they'll take like 30 foot or under, and they'll start at the top and just go all the way down.
Hmm.
It's really
Like a
cool,
chipper?
kind of.
Wow.
They're really cool,
how does that help the rabbits?
because they like really early successional habitat. So the thornier, the more miserable it is to be in there, the better. Which is why they might potentially like the interior style hall. I don't think so. I dropped a bunny poop at URI for sequencing, and
All right.
but it was wrote South Sullivan that management plan said possibly habitat
Okay.
restoration. That would be something to do in partnership with the because they're very interested in it, and they also just published a paper on it like 2 days ago.
Okay, I was just thinking of that as something else that
Yeah.
we could go to the Fields Pond Foundation if they did that kind of work.
Yeah, I could talk to Dylan, the deer guy, because he also does cottontails. I know they were in the process of getting a habitat biologist. But I'm thinking if working with them, at least to help plan it, we could have the equipment go down the bike path and kind of go back into Grove
Mm.
access. And then there's a swath in there that's already kind of open and kind of fill the sweet fern and just kind of get a bit more in there. That could be fun.
What's how you spell this piece of equipment?
Bronto, like Brontosaurus.
The source.
Yeah.
Bronto? or
Yeah, I think
BRONTO?
so. I haven't seen one since college. I just think they're really cool. They are. You're all
I've seen
standing.
them working along the Situate resin.
Yeah,
There you go. They're so neat. And I remember section.
Fine, look,
now Lynn's gonna want one.
They're fun. The entire wildlife class stopped dead. Okay. I'll just add a note about that. And I'll bring more information about that to the next meeting, about the Fields Pond Foundation. Because it is land management.
yeah, that would kind of count, maybe.
Yeah. I used to work with the Cottontail, so you got my brain going.
Okay.
Also,
Well, I remember-
we did research on them last,
Oh, yeah?
summers ago.
Yeah, with Lou?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I only thought to put it in the strategic plan, because I remembered that you had talked about potentially doing that with EM before, so I just stuck it in there somewhere. I don't know, when you guys go over the
Yeah,
strategic plan, we'll see where I've put it.
well, I'll follow up with them because that was in the management plan, which DM wrote 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Could be worth a shot. For any other grant things? So for research updates, just real quick. I submitted the application to the Amphibian Survival Alliance. That's an international consortium. 110 questions later.
Oh my God.
It is now, yes, and 2 recommendation letters. It was way too late, but it's done. It's now gonna go up to their global council. So they said it's probably gonna take a couple months, which is fine, took us a bit of time. Took me a bit of time, but I will keep you all posted when I hear from them,
Thank you.
because their council will review the application, review our materials, and we'll be the first New England partner. But like,
Nice job.
Mm-hmm.
fundraising membership.
On the fundraising side, I did, get in touch with the finance and IT departments about the, Venmo, account, and it's just a process of figuring out how the town is going to properly, do that.
Mm.
So it
Okay,
is in process.
thank you.
Cool, that's great.
Well, they didn't just shoot it down, huh?
Nope.
Okay.
That's
very
good. So does that mean, in theory, if someone were to walk up tomorrow to us, not for Venmo, but with a physical check,
Mhm.
with a donation, this is donation of the memo, we could take it?
Mhm.
That'd be awesome.
Provided it says on the check for the Coventry line,
Yeah,
I know, on the memo line or in the actually payee line?
in the memo line.
Okay,
If
No,
we
it's
do
in
Venmo,
Coventry lot, Coventry, town of Coventry in the
In the, 2,
2.
and then in the, memo, it should say, Coventry Land Trust.
okay.
if we do Venmo, I think you can get a QR code that specifically makes it so it can be like for Coventry land, like there should be some way to link it.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, the Venmo, will be specifically for us.
Great.
As opposed to, the, town's
Yeah.
general fund.
okay.
So if we know we have this ability, do we need to start thinking about fundraising events? Or
Or-
is that just something that once we have the website,
Yeah,
where we need it?
what I'm thinking is we have to start having a flyer at events. So maybe like the beekeeping, the tree ID,
Mhm.
land trust days, like a little flyer that says, want to donate, write a check this way.
Right.
Sample check. And
Yeah,
so it doesn't, the check, a paper check, doesn't need to have Venmo written on it anywhere.
no.
Just-
So it just has to state it is for the Coventry Land Trust.
And then we give you the check and then you Venmo it?
I give it to finance.
Finance,
I think
okay.
just deposit.
Venmo
Yeah.
separate from
Yeah.
checks, that's just a way to pay from your phone. So you're not writing the check.
Right.
Mm.
No.
so like that.
Yep,
Okay.
Although I would
write out Coventry Land
Yes.
Trust.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I could see it
Yeah.
going for the, oh, yeah, the community, living
Coventry.
truckers, something like that.
So if we're going to have a flyer, should it say something about what the money will be used for?
Mhm.
Definitely.
Because people won't give it. Anonymous.
especially given the historical mismanagement in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should list like 5 items like trail maintenance, events, outreach, stuff like that.
Upkeep, signage,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
appraisals
Yeah,
for,
acquisition.
Vandalism repair.
Yeah.
Educational materials.
Yeah.
It's outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
In fact, maybe we could even have
Yeah.
like a Get Kids Outside campaign,
Mhm.
something like that.
sure.
Yeah, I think Projo does something kind of like that.
There's summer camp series,
Yeah.
yeah, you can donate, send kids to summer camps and different things like that.
I don't have to play him with us, but
So
it's good.
once we have the Venmo account, then there will be a specific QR code that, I don't know how Venmo works, so.
You scan it and it calls the Venmo app up on your
Okay.
phone, assuming you have it.
Yeah.
And you just say $20 or
$5.
7,000.
Right, there you
But
go.
then, when the Venmo account is set up, then Venmo gives us the QR code. Like, where does the QR code itself?
Yeah, it comes from Venmo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, okay,
that way it's
Okay.
tied to the account.
okay.
What if someone asks us for a receipt for physical check?
We'll have to buy a receipt book
Okay.
or yeah, and have that handy.
And I think those are available, like, pretty, like.
Dollar
Faith
Store.
and-
Send them an email receipt.
And this is what.
I think they would want
So that.
something a bit more.
Like when I pay my
So ours will
taxes,
say,
all I get is an email. Basically, it's an
similar
official
to-
email, but it
Yep.
says this is the receipt for your for your payment.
Donation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people, well,
I'm just saying, like, having to somehow get a physical receipt to people, then,
well, if it's at an event, you can just have the receipt book.
Yeah.
If somebody mails us a check,
or hands it to somebody or whatever, then.
yeah,
but
then
that's a
we'll
pain.
have to,
Or Venmos.
Venmos,
Venmo will generate one.
which generates one, doesn't it?
Isn't a
Yeah.
cancel check a receipt, really?
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
is, but I think people,
You need an acknowledgement,
something.
some sort of acknowledgement in order to be able to take it as a tax
Okay.
deduction. So if this is a nonprofit, then they're gonna wanna have something.
yeah, and then the question is the Coventry Land Trust a qualified nonprofit to be able to take that donation and have it a tax deduction?
Is
We're
it
not
not?
a
Because we're a
501c3.
municipal, we're not.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
municipal organization. I
Well, if
don't
that's
know.
the case, we'll have to make it clear on any donation thing that it's not tax deductible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, then they
Which-
don't need a receipt. There you
Right.
yeah,
go.
Problem solved, good job.
yeah.
There you go.
I'm just
Solve
thinking there
that.
might be like an odd person, one random odd person who's like, I want a receipt and they're all analog.
Mhm.
You want to make a flyer? Sure. Thank you. No, just, this is how to write out a check, and this is where the money goes, and context deductible.
On July 1st, I will be able to order a receipt book or whatever they're called from
Sure. Give receipts, but yeah, I know what
did,
you're talking about.
you know what I'm
There's
talking?
little, like, with carbon copies.
Yeah.
Yep.
paper,
Yeah, that thing.
Just in case, because I would feel really weird if someone said I want to receive, like, hang on, here's a Post-it.
I know, let me take a picture of that.
Yeah.
More official. And then would we need a qualified member of the, like, any of the board members be able to sign the receipt?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I would think so.
Or else plan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Strategic plan.
Okay, so I took your suggestions for corrections, and I have here, and maybe, did I give this to you? This is, Josh, maybe we could make copies of this. This is, the revision of our strategic plan, just the top page.
Just the top page, yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the second page of my notes on the old one. So I basically just took notes on all the things you suggested and made them happen.
I'm really glad we can accept checks.
While we're waiting, do you want to go over the logo design? While we're waiting for Jim.
Everyone,
When it gets back, you wanna go over this, the itemized strategic plan?
Yep.
Okay. Sure. So,
all yours.
you guys have all seen these before?
Yes.
I don't know if you had any more opinions about them.
Is,
Um,
is this likely to be in color? Most places it shows up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not all the time,
I'm
but
thinking of those signs we put up in Whipple, those weren't in color, right? I think they're just black and white on like an orange background or something.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
black text on an orange
Mhm.
background and.
A bluish text on a yellow.
white,
Oh.
yeah,
Mhm.
I can't remember the exact colors. Yeah. I mean, I think that. I didn't print them in black and white, but I know that the concept of the design that you have them work in black and white, so I think any of these would be, no, think it's okay in black.
right.
Um, I don't know what you guys wanna do, if you wanna take a
Shall we
vote,
go? Yeah,
kind of feel like I wanna get this
yeah.
done, because we've been talking about it for a long time. And
I'm very torn about the violet. Personally. I know we talked about putting it on there. But I'm looking at. I was looking at the old logo, which had like the marsh greenery on it. And, and where like it just, that's in black and white, for instance, then the violet wouldn't mean anything to people, and the different color strata would also not. So I think something. And I didn't really think about that until I saw that old logo and was like looking at it thinking, well. It needs to be able to be an image that is simple and recognizable and can be in different media, including black and white media, I think.
Yeah, I like the simpler designs
Mhm.
best. To tell you the truth, I really, looking at it, just, this one caught my eye because it's just simple, it's clean, it's,
Which one?
so it's,
I think simpler is better in my opinion, yeah.
yeah.
The only, I was trying to find, something you sent had the old logo on it. Is it the?
This
Oh, it's the treasurer's
Right
report.
here.
Yeah.
Which has the marsh grass on it, yeah.
And I actually liked that.
I know.
So the thing about that one is. I don't know, I mean, I haven't ever tried to get something embroidered
Mhm.
before,
Oh,
but if you wanted to have.
patch.
T-shirts or a patch or, you know, a hat
Mhm.
made. That's gonna come out as a big blurb.
Yes.
Streaming
Weird
log.
Yeah,
And primarily because we don't have the original line files.
Right.
That was used to create that pattern, it's just a bitmap. So the more you blow it up.
But we
Good
could
more
recreate that, I mean, I think that wouldn't be difficult, but, and I guess if we wanted to go with something simpler and for embroidery, the simpler is
yeah.
better too.
Yeah,
Like, do we want to replace the lighter blue with green again to try to say like earth, water and greenery?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that would be good. So brown, blue and green.
the top one,
Green,
maybe the
yeah.
green.
The light blue is supposed to represent the sky, right?
That's the one thing that we don't do anything with.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was,
Or we could
it
replace
might have been originally that
we could replace the brown with the green,
Yeah.
green, blue and,
Nice
And-
gradient.
because we don't have the green. Dark blue and light blue.
The town's colors are red and green, so we have green.
So that would be good. So do that design with dark green.
as the top layer.
As she's saying, instead of the brown.
So the brown,
The
so
brown
no brown.
becomes- the brown becomes
the
green. Okay,
The blue is for water, and then the light blue would be sky, so it would be kind of greenery, or which would also be earth, water and sky. And I think just like that, I think, because like, to me, a logo should be simple, and adding all this other, the violets or whatever those are, and ferny things, it just seems too much.
okay.
Like this.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah, and especially from far away, like I'm thinking if this was like all the way over here,
Yeah,
how much better you see it.
Mhm. All that you see is the duck, so really.
right.
All the others is, yes.
Puddles
also-
of-
I was sold on this one.
Which one?
I was sold on this one, said if that was clean, and you could do with or without the violets, it was clean, I was sold on that one.
Which one?
Which one are you doing?
This one,
Oh, okay. So.
but
without-
I mean,
That one would also work if we didn't have the violet, because that's, again, clean, crisp, and.
Yep.
This one seems more modern to me, but I don't know if modern is what was on.
Yeah, this has like, this one has like this vintage camp, like a summer camp cabin-y thing.
Mhm.
yeah,
Look, I just spent a week at a campground, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
but I'm thinking that as patches on the kids' backpacks or something else, I
Yeah.
can see that when I think
Mhm.
about where this would be seen, I could see that.
So, I'd be willing to go with that one without the violet. To get rid of the violet and just go with the Coventry Land Trust in Puddle Stocking.
The
Yeah.
first,
The first.
So
I
Just
like this one better.
Keep
this
everything.
circle,
Uh,
take the violets out.
Mhm.
How about the established 1999?
I like that.
Yeah.
You
that
like
would be
that?
fine.
Yeah,
Leave that,
it gives
that's
us.
left in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
So if we're gonna take out the violets, all we have is the duck.
Yep. And that's fine.
We don't wanna put, I mean, again, just to be difficult. But I mean, we could throw marsh grass in underneath him inside that circle, and then it sort of ties back into this logo.
Then you'd have to
Too
move
busy.
the established 1999.
Yeah, you'd have to get rid of that.
Well, or
So,
the,
And the duck lives on the ground, swims in the water, flies in the air, so it covers all of our bases.
there you go. So we could either do that one or we could do the one. So I think maybe what we should do is.
Narrow it down to two.
Two, those
And then
two. And
Poor
have a
Lynn has to
vote.
do these again, but
Oh, your pen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But change that to
Yeah.
green.
yeah,
I have a greenish pen.
no, he's a professional. No violets, that's the only thing. Yep, yep,
the violet is the state flower or something?
yep.
And the state flower, and it's also,
But it's not a Coventry thing.
No.
it's, so the creature that we have. on
Is the
creature
violet,
Flash
right.
on the Bowden
Mhm.
Trail was the violet, that's
Yeah.
kind of where I came up with the idea. To begin with, because they were having that contest about the creature clash, and I remember that the violet was on one of our properties.
Is
Yeah.
that
So-
still there?
Mhm.
So I can put that
And
in.
shot, but yeah.
I can put
Oh,
that
no.
in
I
that,
got shot 2 years ago.
in that. Something.
Solid,
Yeah.
so the lines will be solid.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
That could be for the Bowden one, you can have it, yeah, right here in the center.
Okay. And it's,
Yeah, like it's being done, or,
okay.
I don't know, what this is called, like crease bliss.
Mhm.
All right, so. We wanna? Do you want to see them again? Or do you wanna take a vote on it now
We can take. I
with the
feel,
changes that I'm gonna make? I mean. This isn't. The round one. You really, the only thing that'll, again, the only change, the violets out and the circle, the circles will attach there, so there won't be a space.
I think we can take a vote with,
you know, let's take a vote.
yeah, so we can get
Let's
it
move it.
moving.
I mean, once you've taken a vote and we have the last one, like, can.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Like
let's
if
take a vote.
if you vote on this one and the green doesn't look right to you, I can always come back with different greens.
Right,
But yeah,
okay. Yes.
No,
I never meant this to become such a
Yeah.
long thing.
I make a motion that we vote on our logo tonight.
I should
Hold on a
abstain.
second.
I feel like I should abstain because Elsa was sad not to be able to vote.
Okay.
I,
But,
Okay.
do I need to abstain because I'm the one who designed
I
them?
don't think so, Chair.
I don't think so.
All right,
All in,
so option one is this one. With no violets. That's
Okay.
option one.
Okay.
who's voting for option one? Okay,
That's three.
three,
Yeah.
okay.
And how many would vote for option two?
and I'm pretty sure Elsa would, but I can't say.
Well,
Well, I guess the option one.
Okay.
Okay, we've got it. We've got a logo.
That was exhausting.
So, who seconded the, motion to vote on a logo?
that is,
You did, okay.
Yeah.
I will retroactively second,
Okay.
because I was about to.
Okay. All right, and now we can go back to strategic plan. Strategic plan. So,
Where did the-
no.
oh, excuse me.
Oh, dear. Okay, the strategic plan
Here we
here.
are. So action items.
Okay, so these are the new action items. And, I don't know whether you want me to read them aloud, but. You know, I changed number 1, create a consistent mechanism for paying for appraisals. I changed number 5 to continuing, let's see. Continue partnering with library for events. No, I didn't change that. I changed number 6. Set up a working mechanism for accepting donations. I changed number 10, to put up and maintain signage at land trust properties. And I added, develop an onboarding packet for new members.
I'm good with all these, because we've discussed these at length.
Yeah.
I think we're good to take a vote on finalizing this entire thing,
Okay. And so how, yeah. we can do that.
unless, do we want to discuss any parts of it?
Well, since I wasn't able to attend the meeting where you guys came up with the action items, I added to this one. I had put Linda's first action items in this.
Hmm,
As pretty much as they were written. I probably took some liberties
Okay,
with formatting and whatnot. But then I also added in some things there, like for goal 2. Originally, the original draft that I had given you only had like boardwalks and ramps, and then I added in trails. So I should probably edit this one more time to fix them the way Linda has described them in this new list. And then I don't know if, like say on page 3, goal 3, I put in an action item together with our Division of Forest Management, develop a New England cottontail rabbit management plan. That wasn't anybody else's action item. That was just something that I was thinking to put in there. So there's probably a few others that I put in there. That you guys have never seen. Or
okay.
you should probably take this and read through it again. And I don't know if you want to.
Yes. Well, this seems to be something that I would want to get ahead of time, really sit down with at home and look over. So, my suggestion is that we table voting on it right now. You go through it one more time, then send it out through Josh, and we all have the job of really looking it over and commenting on it at the next.
we can be able to send out, like the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
I guess it's 2 weeks to.
Yes.
Well, I don't think the content will change much. It's a lot of,
I mean, the other, this is nitpicky on my part, but I was trying to format it consistently as well, so. It looks consistent.
well, it looks lovely.
Mhm.
Very useful. Okay. So I will, make the changes by reviewing Linda's new wording, changing mine, and then send it out within the next couple of weeks through Josh so that you can review it in detail for the next meeting.
Hopefully next meeting, we send it off or finalize it.
Yes.
I did send a previous draft to ASA, think of it just because I wanted one. But it's the overarching concept is the same, just the details. And I told them it was a draft. Oh, these bylaws.
Yeah, I included them because, we were talking about onboarding materials and,
Yeah.
I'm sure, nobody has had a chance to read them, so they're kind of, I know, you and I had.
Comments.
Yeah. But other than that. I assume other people have not had the
No,
chance to go through it and see what they think, so kind of for informational purposes.
Hopefully for next meeting, we could start discussing onboarding materials.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, these both bylaws are in play now, though, right?
Not the stuff we read.
Yeah, the stuff in red is not.
Okay, so do we have a goal to vote on the stuff in red at some point and like have our bylaws finalized?
Yeah, it's not anything particularly critical that we have to do by a certain time. It's, it's just that we were thinking that, because the land trust changed from the old land trust to the new and improved land trust, that the bylaws should be updated as well to incorporate all of those changes.
Yeah.
While we're changing it, do we want to make any other changes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
makes
would
sense.
also, I don't know if this is true or not, but I suspect that maybe for some grant applications, you might have to provide like your bylaws and any kind of official
Yeah.
charter type stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think the bylaws we have now, I don't think they've ever been changed since they've been developed in the first place.
In
I-
1999,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the date of the file I had edited up.
I can play the file I have, looks full.
Has an
But I
attorney
love
looked
this.
at the bylaws anytime in the past decade?
Not to my knowledge.
I only bring that up because last time I revised bylaws, I did it with an attorney who happened to be on the board with me, and she like added a ton of stuff and changed a ton of stuff. So I don't know if it's worth running it by one.
well, and the other thing I was gonna ask about too, now that we're the new and improved and more under the definition of the town. Are we subject to the ethics commission reporting? Because for some, when you're on some boards and commissions, especially if it's related to the town or to the state or other municipalities, you have to file your ethics. One, which is a simple form, it's not, but it's just one of those things that, that might be a question for the solicitor as well.
Yeah.
And
It's online, it's really easy to do, so it's just one of those things that,
Just have a seal, if you have to steal or something.
yeah, exactly. And everyone says they're not going to, and then
What are they called?
it's called filing your for the ethics commission.
Ethics Commission.
Yeah.
So should we ask our solicitor to look over these bylaws now before we get into the nitty gritty, or wait until we've gone through ourselves and then have the solicitor look at them?
I'm concerned we may not get them back in time
In time for what?
to see this move forward within the calendar year.
Okay.
I don't know if, so. I don't know if we need to have a solicitor look at them. I know we can have them reviewed by the department.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that'll at least get somebody else's eyes on them.
They are based on the ordinance which he developed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a lot of the stuff in red I took from the ordinance that he wrote,
Okay.
so.
from all of it.
can we, like, look for bylaws from like, I don't know, Foster, other land trusts and see what they have and make sure they kind of sync up? I'm sure there'll be differences, but at least some of the content will be, should be similar. And for a town like Foster versus the city, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Cranston or,
yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know if it's. That's the
I don't think they do. I think there might be one of like three that don't have one.
Yeah, so that might be just the difference between a town and city bylaws as
Yeah.
well.
But I believe the solicitor took our new ordinance from somewhere that's coastal.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Considering it says it goes to the coastline.
all right.
Marine
Yeah.
waters.
That Johnson's Pond.
Don't check the paper.
Probably 10 years or so when
yeah.
Yeah, well,
sea level rises and
Yep,
salt
yeah.
water.
there we go. Um.
Okay.
So what's our action,
So
with this?
I'd say let's all review in detail for next meeting.
Okay,
If there's any comment, if the changes or comments, and then we can go from there.
okay. So, okay, we'll all do that, and we'll also be reviewing the
Strategic plan.
strategic plan. But we won't have that yet, but we can do this right away.
Mhm.
If anybody would prefer an electronic copy, I can certainly provide that.
Well, I think for me, making notes on a paper copy works.
Okay.
Is it easier, Josh, for you to have edits in a doc so that you can copy paste?
No, I'm gonna say no, because I think we're all gonna make edits
Okay.
as a group, and
Okay.
so I can, you know, throw it up on the screen, and it'll probably be easiest to, do it that way, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Just because I'm looking at it. Is Scott planning to continue joining us?
As far as I know, I
Okay.
haven't heard haven't heard anything to the, contrary.
Okay.
Right. Talk about that and talk about that file.
Okay.
Right. Onwards.
Yep.
So we have good news with Pettigrew.
Mm.
We have an appraisal.
Okay.
Josh, you want to take this one?
Sure. The appraisal came in at like 5 o'clock today. I printed out, kind of the executive summary. If you, want to call it that, the actual appraisals 65 pages long or something like that. You know, I didn't want all of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
No,
So this is the important stuff, the process. You can see the appraised value is 655,000. I do recall that the number that the Pettigrews threw out originally was 450. However, I don't know if that included the parcel to the north of the road. I don't believe it did.
I don't think it did.
So the amount of money that he suggested or offered originally, I don't think is valid with this appraisal. But
He
we have
wanted
appraisal.
450 for these 3 sections?
Yes.
Yes.
And where's the house?
The house is kind of, you
see it
see,
right there,
yeah,
top of
Oh,
the dock
okay.
one. right in the bottom
So
there,
this is
just
all
below the
open.
circle, yeah.
And we want this part above the road or no?
The part above the road, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Initially, we were just gonna take the 3 sections and then because that's what he offered to us. And then he actually said, well, I wanna add in that part too. So. We both, and also Nicholas Road, is an old road. It looks like it's real. It's a wagon road from way back.
So if it got appraised at 655, if he were willing to do it for 450, does he get like some? Because that's like donate, well, because we're not a nonprofit. If we were, then that difference could be a donation.
Yeah,
Well, we don't know that was 450 minus the value of the north property. So the north property, I don't know what that's separate.
I guess that north piece is worth 200. It's gotta be.
Well,
I mean, it is a buildable
It's an
lot.
approved lot, right,
Yeah, because
So
the
that's-
wetland is in the south.
right,
Yeah.
so that's probably why it's more.
Is this thing? But that's not part of it. Is there water on this property?
Mhm. There's a little pond.
You can't see it, but
Yeah,
very small, but great for ducks.
yeah, fishies.
So,
And how much money do we have?
2 million.
What?
2 million.
2 million.
okay.
And what gets added to it every year?
That's a good question.
No.
I think it varies. It's dependent on
Development.
development.
And land sales.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Probably it's been increasing the last few years,
probably, yeah.
considering there's been an ad in the paper past 2 days to come live in quaint Coventry.
But that said, like, if we have $2 million and we don't have a lot of properties that we're looking at currently, and this one is relatively high value, is 655 out of the question?
No,
That would be up to the town council.
yeah,
They make the final call on that one.
How many acres is it total?
19, I think.
Oh,
It's 20. What does it have here? 22 and a half.
We can move forward with it all the way, bring it to council and
and
see what
it's
they
up to
say.
them.
Yeah.
So my only consideration in spending this much money, it's a beautiful piece of land that would be nice to protect. It would be, have great value for wildlife because it's contiguous with other undeveloped properties. There's a lot of, in that area that borders Connecticut, there's some of the largest swaths of undeveloped land. In fact,
In the northeast.
in the
Is it
northeast
protected?
between
Or is it-
Boston
Yeah,
and New York.
Okay.
So,
yeah, the Great Green Corridor.
yeah, so it is part of the Great Green Corridor, so it has value.
This thing.
What it doesn't do, and so that's something we should consider, is that it doesn't allow access for the public. So
That
this
is my
is
concern.
development rights. This is, as far as I know, he's not gonna open his property to have the public hike it. It's only to protect it.
but wait, we can't, we're not gonna spend, if it got appraised at 655, we wouldn't pay 655 just to look and not own it.
We would own development rights.
We
Meaning
pay the
nobody's
appraisal
never
price.
build on it.
No one can ever build on it, but we wouldn't own it.
But you can't have to pay market value for development rights.
This isn't, it's
Yeah,
value development.
I did specifically tell the appraiser that we would be buying development rights.
And this is,
That's all he's offering.
Yeah,
Right.
not land rights,
He's not
which
offering.
Oh,
us
so
would
that.
be like
That's
water
development, I
rights
got
or
it.
resource or. Yeah,
Interesting.
that, the access thing is my concern, because I do love the connectivity and it's huge and wildlife and that's all fabulous, but that's a lot of money for something people.
Has he said we can't have access to it?
Typically, when we buy development rights, you
we
don't,
don't have.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's one, I believe it's Milan. I think, I might be wrong. That's probably why I'm thinking of it that way.
I could be wrong on that.
I don't know, but yeah, usually when you buy development rights, it's just people live there, it's managed kind of as private, but it's not gonna get turned into condos when they die.
So it's just to protect the land, that money.
Yeah,
It's not to, provide access to our citizens.
yeah, or what if someone wanted to do research, if I wanted to manage it for bunnies or,
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, when we were there, one of the comments he made was that he has dogs that he lets run free, that are. He lets run free to make sure nobody comes on his property.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
so and they're not, and they're silent and they're,
They're the Malinois,
So deadly?
yeah, Belgian Malinois,
Oh, boy.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I
So-
figured you know them.
yeah.
yeah. So I don't think that this property would ever, he would be open to having people on the.
I don't think he would, because he's had some problems with people on the street who were engaging in illicit activities. And yeah, so he fixed my well a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me, because I was asking about his dogs. And he said that they had been busy because people had been, I guess, drug sales or something, so he's,
Oh, God.
yeah.
So what is his motivation, as he specifically said?
His motivation is to, is to prevent this land from being developed. He wants to protect the land and keep it in its pristine state.
So why does he need to be paid to do that?
Because he's not gonna live forever.
Correct?
And when he dies, he wants something in place so that his descendants won't just split up the property and develop.
Right, but couldn't he sell the development rights for much less than what they're worth?
He's not likely to, but I think.
I mean, if we say, look, we love this property, we would love to protect this property, but if it's not going to be something that we can manage or
Mm.
allow access to, that's not an amount that we can spend.
I'm not a negotiator in regards to real estate. And I don't know if we should be negotiating real estate prices like that.
I think,
Just for the record, because I have a family member who's a real estate agent, I bought my house from her.
I mean,
know.
what's the downside to,
Asking,
yeah,
yeah,
we could certainly ask
I mean,
him.
it's because it's a very valid concern that you're raising,
It is.
honestly.
Yeah.
And I think what my concern is partly that I'm spending the town's money. And am I spending the town's money on something that's gonna benefit the town? And to tell you the truth, personally, to preserve the land for wildlife, that's fine with me, but on the other hand, I do feel that, that's a lot of money. I mean, I think there are other properties we've bought development rights for, and I think that's wonderful, but 655, that's a lot of money to
Mendley
spend.
is 80,
Yeah,
and that's
80.
about the same size.
That's kind of
What
what I'm
is-
thinking, is
Yeah,
that we're
Monday.
not owning it, that seems crazy to have to spend that, and if his real motivation is he wants it to, be
Right,
preserved forever, then I would think that he would be willing to take quite a lot less for that.
well, we can always offer less.
How do we find out if, like, a donation of the difference in value to the town could be some sort of tax write-off for him?
Yes, I should be able to help.
Yeah, I would have to check. I'm honestly not sure.
Worth asking. I
Yeah.
mean, I know we're not a 501(c)(3), but I mean,
Yeah,
It's a lot.
I'd like to, play devil's advocate here a little bit. I agree, it's a lot of money. But playing devil's advocate, we've had this $2 million sitting in this bank account for years now, and we haven't used it. This property is outstanding property.
mhm.
It extends the green corridor and protects it in perpetuity. And quite honestly, the land trust, we don't have the ability to acquire a lot more properties that we are going to have to put in a lot of effort to maintain, build trails on.
Yeah,
We just
Solid
don't have the
effort.
ability to do it. So I would say, again, playing devil's advocate, we should spend this money now while we have it and protect this property. I don't have anything against trying to go to him and asking him for a little less, but I don't wanna lose this property either. For those reasons.
Well, where else would he go? Because
The developer,
Developer.
developers can pay a lot of money.
I understand that, but if he doesn't want it developed.
People sometimes will try this and then they realize it's complicated or they realize money is actually their goal in the end. And they see that price tag and, you know,
He has lots of property besides, I mean, he has lots and lots of property
Oh, yeah.
in Coventry and Foster, yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
I mean, I would at very least see if he'd stick with his 450.
I think we
You know.
can start negotiations at 450 and with
I
the
would start at
explanation.
300 only because I think it's ridiculous that we don't get to even step foot.
Oh,
on
I'm
it.
thinking 450 for the entire parcel. He's
Yeah, me
gonna
too.
know, all right, because he's gonna know with that northern pasture that he's gonna know that almost would have increased his asking. So I think we start and see what we get.
Yeah, because and the other argument that I'd like to make is that if he had decided to sell the northern parcel and have all these condos on it, that reduces the quality of the other three parcels.
Oh,
oh,
totally.
immensely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't be nearly as nice.
When you're talking about the Green Corridor, it reminded me of Audubon. So a lot of property Audubon buys, and to a degree, the Nature Conservancy, but really Audubon, is not publicly accessible. Because you don't want trails going through every itch and scratch. It's not great for the wildlife. It's fragmentation, it's pollution, edge effect, what have you. So, yeah, from that, effect, this whole follow the forest thing, they're out of New York, I think, and they're like, we need to follow the forest. And do the same
I would
thing."
think
well, do
we-
you think there would be a harm in offering 450 first and seeing what his reaction is? And then,
I don't want to insult him and have him say,
Yeah.
forget it.
yeah,
But I mean, if we say we have a shared goal, which is to preserve this land, he's clearly said that that's an interest of his.
Mhm.
But because we literally would just be preserving this land, but it wouldn't be something that we could access, manage, or, advertise and, share the benefit with the town of Coventry. That 450 was a price we could consider, but it's really only worth that to us if we have that northern piece too, because if we develops it, then those three parcels are really not.
Hmm.
well, the 650 is for the.
All four parcels.
Yeah, all four of them.
Do we have any liability if we own development rights and his Belgian Malinois by people?
No, it's
So that's supposed to
still
be
technically his property.
Right. And they're not supposed to be on the property, there's no trespassing kind of thing up there, too, they're not supposed to be on it. And the other thing too is I think he would because it's still his property, he still has the use of it, so to speak.
Mhm.
And privacy and that whole thing is important to him, so I think he's motivated to sell primarily for the right reasons. Or protect it for the right reasons, although you're right, money's a huge factor.
Because I think when he initially was talking with Glenn, he asked for $1 million.
Mm.
That's why I'm thinking of that.
Hmm.
Which I don't remember if it was him. I think it was.
I know there's a guy who offered a million for some property off of, Reed Schoolhouse. Or Colvin Town, one of the two.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy too.
But
And this piece is, Nicholas Farm Management Area, so this piece is all owned by DEM.
It would be fabulous just to
For the contiguous.
extend the,
I think we have to make every effort to acquire it.
okay.
I just think that it's too, my personal thought on it was it's too important an area to pass up and essentially I know it's a huge amount of money, but given the value of the land in its current state, I just, and again, pointing out that we as a land trust just don't have the manpower to
Maintain it.
maintain it.
Right.
You know, we just don't.
I mean, I think we can ask if we can have
Access.
a stipulation, if with prior notice, could there be research, could there be this on the
Mhm.
property? You know, as a way of having good faith in maintaining,
Mhm.
making sure that the property's still healthy or still, you know,
Yeah,
protecting what it needs to protect. I think he'd be amenable to that.
Do we wanna vote on this tonight? Or do we want to, vote on two options? I think we're all in agreement that we wanna try to acquire this.
Yes.
What, the only piece of disagreement I see is that some of us might wanna try offering less, and some of us just wanna go in and say, let's just get it. Is that, am I reading? it
Are we in
correctly?
agreement that if we don't have the development rights to that northern piece, that it changes the value of the
Yes,
nice
yes.
land?
It does.
It's an all or none.
So it's
Yeah.
all, it's all,
It is.
it has to be all.
One
Because-
thing I wonder is if we come, if we approach him and we say we'll give you X, and then he asks for the appraisal, which he can,
If
then
it didn't go to him already.
I'd be,
yeah,
I'd be
it
almost
just
certain he'd already
came
have
in,
appraisal done.
today. You know, he was obviously aware that the gentleman was coming on his property and doing the appraisal. So if we offer him 400, 500, you know, whatever it is, and then he sees the appraisal, you can say, yeah, but it was appraised for this.
And
And
that's when we say, but
yeah,
But we're not developing it,
We're
like
not
we're
developing it.
denying
It's still-
development rights.
you still are
to
owning
preserve
it.
Yeah.
and we can't
Yeah.
access it.
But it was appraised for development right, so he's perfectly legitimate in saying, I want.
Oh, absolutely,
You know.
absolutely, but I think it's a negotiation, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't had his own appraisal.
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
I
the first one was his.
I mean, it's developed, 655 is what the development rights would be worth to him. But that's not necessarily what they're worth to us, because we're not developing it, like, we're not gonna be able to do anything with it, so.
Right.
It just seems like there's a. I don't know.
Do we know what his appraiser said it was worth?
When he appraised, I think
That was
the initial one was just the
Just the
three,
three
it was
portion,
450.
yeah,
That was.
That was his, yeah.
yeah,
he
that was
paid
before
for that.
50, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Even if we said we do 550.
I
but
was thinking
it has
going
to
in the middle.
include- Yeah,
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 and we
So-
don't actually do the negotiation, the town does, right?
I hope so, because I don't want to do the negotiation.
mhm.
yeah, who would do that, and is that our first point of
Mm.
contact?
I don't know, I mean, because the last time we were actually involved in this,
Mhm.
we had Dennis and Glenn here, and they
Mhm.
were more, they did more of that, and no.
Right, but I thought the town manager, someone had the conversation with the seller. I don't
Is
recall
the
us.
process that we need to now go to the town council and get
Yes.
approval to make an offer on this property?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And can we discuss it with the town council, like who does that and whether they would like to negotiate? rather
yeah,
than just go right
that
to the-
is a question I am curious about as well.
Yeah, because we can say right now, we want to pay 655 for it, and they can turn around and go, no. The final decision rests with them as to acquiring it.
So,
But do we need to have a final proposal to put in front of them, or can we say, we think this is a valuable property, we recommend trying to get the.
yes, we
this
recommend
for
purchasing,
550.
purchasing it, yes, and then they kind of negotiate, because who was the town planner for Brian, somebody who's also an attorney, because he would bring it, huh?
Her?
No, he was, I forget what his name was.
How long ago?
8, 9 years ago.
Oh, that was before my
Okay.
time, so I don't know.
I was in high school.
Shut up. But he would take, he's the, I think he's the planning director now in North Kingston. He would take the recommendations of this to the town, and at the time it was, the solicitor was Nick Gorham. And he would take it to him and then they'd negotiate,
Okay.
you know. Our recommendation was, we want this. We would recommend a starting or price we think it's worth, $650, we would start at whatever. And then they would negotiate it. The last, what was the last property we purchased? Was it Boat or Sullivan?
Sullivan.
Sullivan, yeah.
How was it?
Yeah.
Grassett. I think it was Grassett.
Grassett.
Grassett,
I
yeah.
always forget about Grassett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
So, can we just go ahead with recommending?
Well, we would move that, we would, as the land trust would recommend purchasing the
this
development
property?
rights to this particular property. And provide them obviously with the appraisal, and then they would negotiate with, the
Okay.
applicant, yeah.
And, so can we just do that and leave the negotiation to them?
I'm not sure.
I
Okay,
think we'd have to, Mr. Glenn, I'm not, I thought, because Dennis and Glenn wrote clear that we weren't supposed to have a conversation with.
That's why I'm not comfortable with doing it, because I don't wanna step a boundary that we.
Well, I don't think so either, and because I know Dan personally, he's my plumber, his sister sold me my house, his brother was my electrician, it's kind of, this,
Awkward.
it is a little awkward thing, so, and I was very clear when he was at my house, we didn't have any conversations about this, but that's usually how it went, from, the land trust made the recommendation to the, and I thought it was to the solicitor, who recommended to the town council to make the purchase. And we said it's worth we feel it's worth $655,
Mhm.
but negotiate,
okay. So
I think,
do we write up a formal letter to say that?
that's what we did with Mendes,
yeah,
is, cause I remember throwing in a bit about wildlife, is it was like a 1-pager.
Okay,
Yeah,
council.
and then I think Doug goes before the town council and says the land trust has a
Yep.
property. It's good because of this, this, and this. Here's the appraisals, the appraised value, etc.
yeah, and that guy Brian was in Doug's role before, when we bought.
Did you guys go through that whole assessment thing? Like, do you have some document that shows what?
We
it's
have
at?
a
The scoring sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
do we have the scoring sheet available to us? Cause I don't have it, I mean, included in the packet.
It's in the packet.
We have,
I have it somewhere.
You have it somewhere?
so we can include that,
So if I know that I wrote the letter from Mendes.
Yeah.
If I use that as a template to write the letter to acquire this,
And I can throw in
then
some stuff.
I'll pass it to Josh, he'll pass it to you, you can add in the, like, the wildlife piece and and the scoring, and then we'll get the packet together next month, and
Yeah, and maybe then you can throw in some like soil layers or something.
Sure,
or
I can
the-
make a map and.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I already started.
Yeah, maybe
drawers
like
on
this-
the sheet.
I don't know, whatever this corridor is officially
Oh, yeah, yeah,
called.
that.
Yeah, the big green swath. Cause I can talk about it, but a nice visual.
Yeah. I'll put around, cause this northern side is owned by. I mean, it's just surrounded by.
Yeah, I think it's buffered
Is
on
that
both sides.
also a management area? This might be Audubon. But I'll find
Somebody.
out.
And on the western side, it's the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all around, it's great. It's just, that's the sticking point. So should we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that Linda use the Mende property template for the Pettigrew property, and that it be augmented with information specific to Pettigrew by Jenna and Lynn. And that letter will then go through the channels to obtain the development rights to this property.
Okay. Okay, I think, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I second that motion.
All in favor?
I, okay, and I think also before we actually go through with that, I make a motion that we move to purchase development rights of Pettigrew.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Brian Wagner was the guy who was here before, so I don't know if he has any files or anything, but he did the negotiation for us. And also, then I assume at some point solicitor was involved.
Certainly for the closing,
Yep,
there might be some legal thing
the
beforehand.
only time we had to go before the town committee was when we were getting a DEM grant to purchase something, because we were getting a $300,000 DEM grant and we were matching it. I think that was for,
Wasn't it Sullivan?
maybe it was Sullivan. Sullivan or Sullivan, but yeah.
Okay.
Cause I think I was on the tail end of Grasset, but I don't know that I've been on the committee for actually purchasing a property.
I think Rory, you're the only one. Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Push the way to the past.
Yep.
Big call Glenn from Florida.
There you go.
Mhm.
Any more discussion about Pettigrew before we move to Hayes?
No.
So Hayes, Josh and I kind of went back and forth on this one. I don't know if we want to pursue it as an acquisition, like if we should officially reach out to the guy. It is isolated, it's also on a brook trout stream, but it's tiny, so I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on.
It's all still gonna be under construction until December. There's big signs up there that are replacing the bridge, so that road is gonna be closed from June to December, so no one's gonna be buying it.
But we have confirmed that it's for sale.
Oh,
No.
we have
For
not.
sale?
It's not,
Oh, okay.
it was just never sold in the first place, and
Okay.
nothing has changed on it, there's no sign, there's no development, there's
So
no.
we don't know if
No,
Hayes still wants to try and sell.
right,
Right.
it's a bad time right now because he won't be able to get anyone to that brook, so it's gonna be closed, yeah. And they're replacing the bridge right where the property is.
Yeah, cause it backs up to it.
Yeah, yeah, so that's, they put the signs up today. I think from June 30th till December.
Okay. yeah. So I don't know if we want to go after it or not.
I think it's one of the, we keep our eye on,
Okay,
just to see. The only changes I see when I drive by there is that someone has positioned a log across the entrance. And you can tell it the way it's positioned, so it's been put there, so people aren't walking through there. But that might have been done in preparation for the build, it could have, or the bridge,
Right.
it could have been,
Right.
you know, anyone.
yeah, that's new.
How tiny is tiny?
Few acres.
Is it,
12
I was gonna say, it's under 20 acres, I thought it was like
Yeah.
17 or something,
Yeah.
it's tiny, but it's very pretty.
How's that tiny when
It is.
Pettigrew's only 22 acres?
I thought it was a few.
I thought it was smaller than that, wait a minute.
It's this little bit of a
I
thing.
didn't bring any. so-
17 versus 22
Mhm.
doesn't seem all that.
Yeah,
Oh,
where it's located, it's narrow, maybe
That's-
it's narrow, it's just, it's a narrow.
it's my
spot.
first thing with
Your
the land
first
trust.
thing?
Yeah,
Did I put the acreage on there? There might be text on there.
No,
No?
no. It's a little bit of a thing though. I mean, that's a house.
yeah,
Can't
Maybe it's
be
not that
like,
much.
what, 2 acres, 3 acres?
Is it completely surrounded by developed?
Not here.
yeah,
These are the landlocked parcels, I think. This is the trout stream and the bridge is right here. So, but it's all wetland, like you really can't develop it to begin with. Unless you put something like right there, but this is a nice hill, so that would be a hell of a driveway.
mhm, yeah.
Mhm.
Looks very healthy.
Yeah, I think
It was raining.
to construct that whole lot would be super expensive because
Yeah.
that hill where you're above the wetland, that's all ledge.
Mhm.
So you have
Yeah.
to have somebody chop that whole thing down.
you know, if this was New Hampshire, we'd have awesome porcupine habitat.
Of course, you never know. People spend money on all sorts.
Oh,
of
I
stuff
know.
These days.
The people around the corner from me just and must have spent a bill, you know, big bucks to take ledge out of their side yards so they can make it a lawn.
Mhm.
I can't understand why they would do that.
They'll regret it in August when they're mowing it.
Mhm.
And that- and that
No, and they're
15
looking at their
humidity.
brown lawn
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the drought.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no, I'd say we should keep it on the agenda so that we keep our eyes on it.
Okay,
Um,
alright, we'll see. That's why I carry this thing. That's why you take your laptop.
Yes. I should have pulled it off, yes.
The Karen and Cook properties are, also not for sale, but also should we keep our eyes on them? I think they're landlocked.
One of them is landlocked, one of them does have access to whichever road is to the west of Bowden.
Williams Crossing. Oh, yes, yeah, okay. I remember, sure. It would be nice to just have a big swath right there too, as well for connectivity. But they're not explicitly for sale right there.
So, I think, especially since they're not for sale and it's not precipitous, I think it would be better if we worked on Pettigrew,
Mhm.
got that through, and then turned to other, you know, instead of trying to juggle a lot of projects. So,
The only thing I could suggest was that we potentially think, not tonight, but in the future, potentially when we're discussing this, whether it would be time to potentially write them a letter and say, we're here. If you're ever interested, and
mhm.
seeing if we could strike a deal.
Now, are these properties that we would want to have access to, or?
Yeah, definitely for the Karen and Cook, because they adjoin with Bowden, so we could just make it like this one big unit, management unit. Hayes, yeah, people fish there, so they'll probably want to keep fishing there. There's and it's also right near so many houses that people are probably in it already.
Hmm.
Wow, look at that contour.
Yeah, it's, I remember we were walking back there. That was your first field trip, Jen.
I know, I had to find you guys.
Yeah.
I had no communication, I just saw meeting. Okay.
Okay.
In the rain.
So,
Okay.
How about we take Karen and Cook off our agenda? And we keep Hayes on there just because we've had
Yes.
past relationship, I guess, with them. Keep Pettigrew, obviously.
Why wouldn't we at least send a letter saying, you know, if in the future you'd ever consider, you know,
maybe,
especially if it's, we wouldn't want development rights.
We'd
wanna
want the whole
own it.
thing,
We
yeah.
want the home house, yeah.
yeah.
Old trails.
It wouldn't hurt for, and I think it should be at next meeting, because I think we've already got a lot of work to do for ourselves. But, to create a prototype letter.
Hmm.
That we could send out to landowners. Saying, you know, gee, we notice your property, you know, if you're ever interested in, you know, something like that. And come up with a letter, and then if somebody could write that, you know, that'd be their job for the next you know, not for the next meeting, but at the next meeting, and sign it for the next time. Then we'd have something ready, and, you know, maybe at that point we send that letter to all those places.
So how about we have an agenda item for next time. This is development
Yes.
template. And
Development one,
something that says, hi, we see parcel, whatever,
right,
and we like it for these reasons, and we're here if you ever want to chat
Right.
with us.
so can you put that on the agenda for next month?
Already have it written down.
Excellent, okay.
Thank you. Alright, onwards,
Mhm.
boundary markers and signs.
We had a successful trip to Whipple a couple weeks ago. Justine and Jenna and I put up the rest of the yellow sign markers that Terry had made along the backside of Whipple, so that trail's complete. What we call the yellow trail, perimeter trail, whatever. There's a lot of internal trails that we still need to deal with in terms of mapping them and figuring out what to call them, red, green, blue, white, etc. And then potentially get those signs up.
You said that was a Bowden?
Whipple,
Whipple.
Whipple. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
It was fun. We were worried that we were gonna have to cancel because of the rain, but it actually turned out to be a really
It's
nice,
beautiful.
nice day. The sun was good, so.
However, the ATV stuff. Persistent. We need to schedule a work session to fill that stuff in. Cause that's gonna require like shovels and such to fill in those trenches they dug.
Mhm.
I need to bring something in, like gravel or something.
Well, that would be a public works kind
Yeah.
of job more than, I don't know.
If we can get Scott to come to the next meeting, we discuss it with him.
Mhm.
Really don't know using any seats in the front.
Yeah.
I would be more amenable to attending meetings if we could limit his time. to
Yeah.
Whatever we actually need him for. Like, maybe we could design the agenda such that we start
With him.
with the stuff that involves
Yep.
him and then let him go.
Mm.
'Cause
Mm.
it's a long time to sit. It very.
It
rarely
is,
has to
yeah.
do with him.
Yes,
He is supposed to be here though, per the bylaws.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
yes.
thing is, no one knew that until it was put into said bylaws.
Mhm.
And probably took the job without knowing it, cause how would he know?
Mm.
I, sorry, you wanna discuss more about Whipple or?
I just, real quick, any word on contacting Chief Heiss about ATVs?
I had, kind of put that on the back burner. I will see if I can't, get hold of them.
Please, thank you.
Some other communities have done things where they've confiscated the ATVs that were on the property, and police kept them to use them for search and rescue, or they donated them to search and rescue teams. So maybe there's a way to make it both a disincentive and an incentive.
Providence bought it.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there signs at every entrance
Yeah,
that
they
say
take 'em- they
absolutely
take 'em
no?
down.
Yeah,
Soon as yeah, they go up.
I haven't been back since we put them up to
Mm.
see if they're still there.
we do need to put them though at Sullivan because. And at Bowden, there's no thing saying you can't, and which is why I ran into a kid who had absolutely no idea he wasn't supposed to be on it.
They are at Sullivan now, at the entrance, right?
We did put up.
We
put
did?
up-
Yeah.
Yeah, we did put up some at, the Bowden entrance to Sullivan.
Oh, yes, okay.
One,
Yeah.
to know, again, I don't know if it's still there or not.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, now that you mention it, I don't think it is.
And it's that other side that they were really, that I saw this kid going up and down.
Yeah, I don't think either the one on either side is there anymore. So,
Just so dangerous.
I
Mhm.
I met with Scott, on. What's today, Tuesday?
Mhm.
Friday morning, we went to Bowden, down to Williams Crossing. And specifically to have him look at the trail that goes to the trash pile. That we asked him if he could have his guys go in and pull out. He was very accommodating and believes that he can get his guys to go down there with a Kubota. And something, I don't know. Anyway, he has ideas that he was going to talk to. I guess the guy who operates the Kubota. They were gonna go out together at some point and assess whether the guy who drives it can actually get it down, because that first part of Williams Crossing is pretty steep. Whether he has enough room to maneuver it. Once you get past that initial steep part of the trail, it's you know, pretty flat and easy, and he said it's much different than he initially thought, and that it's wide, wide enough to get down there. And I told him that we could do, we meaning the land trust people, could do some prep work on the trail to
Mhm.
remove fallen tree limbs or overhanging branches and stuff to assist with that, getting the Kubota down there. He thought that would be great help, because we've had so much rain that the trail's really overgrown. So this, he said though, that it can't happen until the fall, because right now they're totally tied up all their recreation stuff. So around about September, we'll be back in touch to sort of plan the strategy, do the prep work, and get out there, get that trash pile out of the way. So that's my report on the trash pile.
That's good news.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he also was
Excellent.
very enthusiastic about having his guys in the winter do construction of kiosks and
Oh,
signs.
nice.
He said that they can donate the lumber and the work time, because
Wow.
guys don't have anything to
Enough
work
to do,
on
yeah.
in the winter months.
Yep.
So they usually, yeah,
What about the
they
Yeah,
usually.
boardwalk?
yeah, if they're bored, we've
Yeah,
got stuff to
and
do.
he said, that was a potential thing that they would help with.
Filling
Because
in
that would
trenches.
be really
Yeah.
great if they
So,
could do the
yeah.
boardwalk.
And maybe we can storm a couple of ATVs too to help us work.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
why not repurpose them
Right,
for Parks and Rec? or
so
the
he
planning?
was very, very accommodating.
Good.
And seemed like he was really wanted to have his guys help. It's just that right now, with the opening of Briar Point Beach and,
Oh, that's right,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's that whole thing with the permit, and he just can't do it right now.
Well, that makes
So-
That
sense.
makes perfect
Mm.
sense, though.
But if he could do that later, that would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
And again, if
wants-
people would stop trashing the
Mhm.
hiking trails, that would be great too,
Yes, that would be.
you know?
And he said, you know, the vandalism is just something that you have to deal with, because you're never gonna stop it.
Yeah, it happened at Briar Point Beach too, like day one, yeah.
Yeah, There's always gotta be one person.
No.
Every time.
Yeah, but one person loses an ATV, it says a message.
Mhm.
So that's,
I'm also concerned by not enforcing it, we're sending a message.
What, absolutely, and someone loses their life on one of those
Or it
trails.
becomes a quad.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well,
I saw,
the town's insurance will pay for it.
I know, I
I
saw
know.
2 ambulances in a weekend in Jericho in
Yeah.
New Hampshire on ATVs.
Mhm.
And I had a guy approach me because I was in a marked truck saying, my buddy just broke his leg. So.
said, what do you want you to put them down, like?
Yeah, he was looking for help. They had to go down with an ATV of their own to get him out. Like, the sheriff was right over there,
Yeah.
but I'm like, these things are dangerous. And by not enforcing it, we're saying, come here.
Mhm.
And then it's going to look like Coventry made a welcome.
It's called an attractive nuisance.
Mhm.
Yes.
You can be liable for creating an attractive nuisance.
Mhm.
And we have
Okay.
documented it.
Mhm.
I'm done.
Like I said,
Um,
incentivize it,
mm,
we'll
Yeah.
get your Parks Department ATVs or your cops ATVs, so.
Yeah.
Right.
and I just, it came in and then it left.
Right.
Signs,
Signs.
kiosks,
Is that already?
Hmm. That's really
GIS, map.
trash.
Trash, we did the trash.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
Oh my God.
It's gone. It's gone. Couldn't have been that important.
Oh, thank you for meeting with me. So
Yeah.
that's
great.
awesome. That,
Um,
because we can use labor.
Yeah.
Mhm. That would be
Yeah.
one, then we wouldn't have to apply for the grant from
Mhm.
Audubon if
Yeah.
they do it, that would be.
And that way, if there's more eyes on the trail.
Right.
Yeah, he seemed enthusiastic about having something for his guys to work on in the middle of winter when it's snowing out and they don't have anything to do except build park benches.
Okay,
Excellent.
excellent.
Yeah,
Yes, that would be terrific.
maybe we could get one of those fancy kiosks.
Mhm.
Well, I said that I would start looking into, designs.
Okay.
So I can try and find some plans and bring them to the next meeting.
There's gotta be stuff out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
because Eagle Scouts are always doing that stuff, right? I can ask my friend Marcia, her son built some for Cranston, where he got his plan.
Mhm. Perfect.
Um. I had asked the Land Trust Council about a monitoring template. For everyone's request last time, I did get it, I forgot to forward it. Considering the hour, thinking we discuss it next time. Prescribed burns, I haven't heard back from anybody I contacted, so I'm gonna see if there's some other group that is able to make a burn management plan. There's a friend who's a burner, but we'll see. GIS mapping,
I do not have anything to report.
Cameron,
I haven't had it out.
I have a cool picture of a red-tailed hawk grabbing a gray squirrel on my trail cam. I know.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
they're very tasty, you know.
What a
Squirrels, yeah, they're delicious.
nutty flavor they had.
Yeah.
Jenna, seriously?
I couldn't believe it. I caught one like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
that's crazy.
I love my trail cams.
I wish they would catch some of the rabbits in my
They're
Oh,
prolific
rabbit
this year.
They are very prolific.
Okay, do you like rabbits?
I saw a couple doing just that in the middle of the street the other day when I was walking my dogs.
Bad timing.
Well, that's quite, I was very embarrassed.
Yeah, the squirrels like to do that on the picnic table. In the
Yeah, you're
backyard.
gonna get killed.
No, they do it where we eat in the
Oh.
backyard. Kitchen hot. New business for discussion or action that, for next time. Or this time.
Just the letter.
And, can we put monitoring template? That time? On there? Mainly as a reminder to me to send it to people, so we can look at it. Anything else that should go on the agenda? Anything anybody else wants to discuss tonight? Alright, and no one's here for public comment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, we adjourn at 8:46 PM. Thank you. Please take bread.
I used to date Paul Roselli.
Hang on,
Your
hang
cheeks
on.
turned a little red there.
Wow.
That was years ago.
Okay.
Now we're up. Now we're up.
Now we're up.
Wow.